Welcome back everyone to the channel, and you may be mistaken, like I am, for believing that there's something Keir Starmer regrets about his premiership in the last 6 months. Let's be honest, the guy has made more mistakes and more cock-ups in 6 months than any previous Prime Minister, and that's why he's the most unpopular Prime Minister in 55 years, recent polls have revealed. So Keir Starmer has been talking to a panel, a liaison panel within Parliament. Now, I imagine it's some type of advisory panel that scrutinises the Prime Minister. And Keir Starmer has been questioned about what he has learned over the last 6 months. And he's also been asked if there was anything Keir Starmer would do different. And you're going to be horrified to find out that Keir Starmer has answered by saying there is absolutely nothing that he would change whatsoever about his decisions over the last 6 months. So Starmer was questioned by Meg Hiller, who asked him about the previous 6 months and the lessons he'd learned, and Starmer answered by basically doing what he always does, going on about the imaginary £22 billion black hole and blaming everything on the previous government. But then Meg Hiller asked him again and more directly, is there anything that you would do differently if you were starting out now? And Keir Starmer's answer is probably the most honest thing he's said up to date. Keir Starmer replied, "No, we had to do tough stuff. We are getting on with it. I am very pleased to be delivering from a position of power rather than going around the divisions lobbying, losing every night. I've had too much of that." So Starmer says he's very pleased to be delivering. What exactly is Keir Starmer pleased with, and what does he believe is delivering? Well, he certainly isn't delivering the manifesto he promised the country at the last general election. He's certainly not delivering what his own MPs want, and certainly not the whole of Parliament. But Starmer is telling the truth. He is delivering, and that is by his master, the people in charge, the unions, the bankers, the people who bankroll the Labour Party as well as the Conservative Party, the same unions who fund half of the MPs who won at the last election. And these are the same unions that then saw the massive pay rises come in. At the same time, cutting only £1 billion while spending £12 billion on the pay rises, cutting £1 billion, taking the winter fuel payment off some of the most vulnerable people in the country. He spent £22 billion for Ed Miliband on his carbon capture, which hasn't even been proved by science to be true. He's spending another £30 billion on green energy. They're stopping drilling in the North Sea for oil and gas. And that's just to name a few things that's been an absolute disaster under Keir Starmer's premiership and the money that he's spending. Rachel Reeves' budget has sent big business into hiding. People are fleeing the country. The government have no idea what they're doing, but Starmer is telling the truth. He is delivering for the people who he sees are in charge. But he's going to get a rude awakening come the next May election, if it takes place, because just like any dictator, he's now on about cancelling the local elections. But at some point, Keir Starmer is going to face the real boss, and the real boss is the electorate, and they're going to punish him, and they're going to punish him big. But Keir Starmer will be looking at the mathematics and thinking his majority is so sizable, and there'll be so much vote splitting between Conservatives and the Reform, that he'll be able to hang on. He probably thinks that people will forget about it by the time the next general election. But I've said many times on this channel that I think that Keir Starmer is toast. And I think the worst thing that can happen for the Labour Party and for the short term for the rest of the country is his Deputy Prime Minister will take charge, Angela Rayner. And when Angela Rayner takes charge, the country will see what the loony left is all about. And I think that is when Labour will lose big and very big at the next general election. But going back to what Keir Starmer said, he wouldn't change anything. You could forgive Starmer if he said, look, things are tougher than what I realised when I come in, and I regret this, that, and that. But in politics, and you get this throughout the councils and the governments all around the Western world, they'd never, ever admit fault. That is the way they're brought up to be. Don't forget, Keir Starmer is a qualified barrister. Now, what's the first thing you learn as a barrister or a solicitor? It's to never admit fault. Otherwise, you're going to lose a criminal case or you're going to get sued in a libelous case. And this is why so many MPs use this line, because so many of them are former solicitors and barristers in America and in the UK. Also, if you take a look at his wording, what's very interesting, he cannot really think of anything. There's nothing he would change. That's the exact same line that Kamala Harris used when she was questioned about the Joe Biden administration and what she would change going into the American election against Donald Trump. And it's that same cockiness and arrogance to never admit when you're wrong, which is going to be the downfall of this dictatorial government that we have in the UK. I'm talking about Keir Starmer. I'm sure many people have seen, and for many who haven't, I'm going to leave a link in the description. The new Christmas classic, what has come out. And it is a song about Keir Starmer cutting the winter fuel payment. And it's created by a channel called Sir Starmer and the Granny Hammer. And the title is Freezing This Christmas. It's a parody of the track of Muds in 1974, which was Lonely This Christmas, and it goes on to criticise Keir Starmer throughout the song and the video about the damage that he has done to the old people in the UK by taking the winter fuel payment. And the BBC have decided that they're not going to play this song this Christmas. Now, the BBC changed many years ago, and they always used to play the number one hit song every Christmas. And then, because of the digital change that we're seeing and the world of streaming, they now play the number one downloaded song as well. Well, this song, this parody, has become the number one downloaded song on iTunes in the United Kingdom. But yet the BBC, breaking their own rules, are now not going to play this song because it criticises the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, who it calls a fraud in the song. And that's about as bad as it gets, by the way. If you listen to this song, there is nothing defamatory or untrue in this song whatsoever. All the monies are going to Age UK that this song will generate. The guy who's done this felt strongly and passionate about what had happened, and he's not going to take a penny. You can tell by the name of the YouTube channel, Sir Keir and the Granny Hammers, that it's obviously a new YouTube channel. And the BBC, remember, that is funded by the British taxpayer, will not play the song. So please, for anybody who hasn't watched it, click the link below, listen to the song. If you can, if you're on iTunes or Spotify or whatever you listen to, or even if you're on YouTube Premium, download the song. Let's send a message to this government, to the BBC, that we're fed up of this left-wing government, this corrupt government, this mainstream media like we've got with the BBC and everything else. And I just want to thank you all for watching, and please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.